done that. Hopefully, there we go. Did it. Okay. Everything looks good
Steve
here.
is the duck. Can you see some? Oh yeah, we can hear you good
Perfect.
now. Awesome. Okay, let me switch over to this Skype thing here. How do I make it to where this like goes away?
Oh, I
So
think if
this
you just
man. Well, I know how to do this. I'm just gonna do this. Move this over here. Stretch this out a little bit. All right. If alerts happen though, bro,
same. I have them like turned
that's
down a
a
little bit, but not off.
no. That's like a nice 5 minute break.
Okay, got it.
That's why I do it. That's when I drink water, poke my nose.
Makes sense.
Like it's like good time. There we go. It's gonna look good, dude. Yeah, we go. Yeah. He's social distancing with the duck mask. You gotta dress this up as
Anonymity.
a duck, dude.
Um,
You know, you are a teacher, man. You can't be having students be like, "Hey,
yeah,
that's Mr. Duck."
I had a kid today was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Mr. Taylor had a YouTube channel? I'm like, oh, kid, you have no idea.
It's happening. All right, there we go. You know, I'm gonna actually stretch it just a little more, just so we can zoom in. Gosh, I love your comic setup back there, man.
Thank
It's
you.
so sick. Just so we can have like I just get OCD about this stuff. Like I
Oh,
purposely
understandable.
pop out. Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, we're good to go. You sound good. I sound good. Are we on your thing now? Are we streaming
Yeah,
live?
everything's set up, so it all looks up to kosher.
Yeah. So if you all want to tune in on Steve is the Duck, do that. Steve underscore the Duck. A couple people still over there on the Facebook. You can click that link, come over to me, or just go to twitch.tv/Steve underscore is the Duck. Let's get started. He's gonna interview me. I'm scared. He said I can send you the questions so you can approve them, which means what would you ask that I would not approve of? That shit's scary. So, anyways,
I when I was in journalism in high school, we were told that as a professional courtesy to anyone we interview, it is always a good idea to at least ask if they would like to see the questions ahead of time, just to peruse and maybe see what is okay to ask and what is not okay to ask. So
yeah,
I
for
wanted
sure,
to
man.
provide that to you because you've been such like you've been such an amazing supporter of not only myself but like of everybody in the community, and I wanted to make sure that my questions would be okay. Yeah,
For sure. Well, I get it, and you've also been greatly supportive of me, man. And it's cool because I didn't understand Twitch that much. I understood Patreon, but Twitch was still new to me, and I didn't
yeah.
really get how it works and how like the gift sub goes such a long way. It's not just about like here I'm supporting you, but it's like I'm going to support you and I'm going to let someone else know that you exist. So we're going to do a double support thing here. And it's like, what? This is crazy. Like, and you were one of the first people to help me out with that. So obviously I was down to do this. So anyways, oh yeah, you're this just your camera's down here. I'm up here looking at mine, but I'll look a little bit more at
Well, I have
yours.
to alternate. Sometimes I have to stretch because it's so. But okay, so okay, so the way I've structured this interview is going to be based initially it's going to start off with like touring moments, the band and music. And then I was going to transition into how music and business interact, followed by some sports, food, and then family. So I wanted to just kind of start off like just rip the band-aid off and start with something that could either be really funny or really serious. But
Oh boy.
who in Escape the Fate has sustained the most injuries while on tour?
Oh, Craig.
Yeah.
Craig, without question. Um, for me, I have, and I think we all do, but I definitely have some lingering stuff. My back sucks, dude. I
Oh
have a
yeah.
bad neck. My shoulders sometimes my lower back for sure, as we've noted on Twitch before, where I was like, I can't move, my back is busted, and I couldn't even come on one night. I really wanted to, I was excited, and I just literally couldn't move. So I always get aches and pains, and if we include mental injuries and panic attacks and having to go to the ER because you think you're dying, but
Right.
really you're just like stressed out. I'm tied for the lead, but Craig, because Craig has had the most serious, like as far as like physical things, like he's broken his ankle,
Yeah. I
and
remember
he
that
jumped off
video.
stage.
I remember
Yeah,
that
well,
video.
well, no, there was a different video
Oh.
because yeah, because he broke his ankle while he was performing with, I think it was right when he was in the Word Alive,
Oh,
or
okay.
maybe he was just at a show and he just jumped off, but there was really nobody at the show, so he just kind of landed wrong and broke his ankle,
Ooh.
and then that created a lot of other injuries because now he has to compensate,
Yeah.
and his patella or something in his knee gave out, and that
Mm.
was at a show in Florida. Maybe you saw that video.
I
And in
so there was actually a video of you guys playing Warp Tour one year, I think. Right after it was either Warp Tour or was a different tour. It was right after Ungrateful had been released, and Craig had like fallen into the crowd, and the whole set just stopped for a minute straight to see if he was okay. Like, was that probably his worst injury on tour, or is there like a worse one than that?
well, I honestly, when he messed up his knee, that one was his worst one
Okay,
actually,
yeah.
because he literally like couldn't really walk for a while. That's
Ouch.
like the kind of injury that if you're like an athlete, like your season is done,
Right.
and he still had to keep doing the tour. So that's like, and it was like it wasn't even like a show. It was kind of like this a secret show because it was
Okay.
a kind of a warm up thing, and I think we're gonna do either Warp Tour or something like that. So it was like this secret show that got announced like the day of, and yeah, he messed up his knee, and
Wow.
that sucked. So, and then on top of that, he's definitely busted his hand, broken like bones in his hand, and his like knuckles or something has had to be like taped up and casted up, holding the microphone, and all kinds of stuff. He's gotten teeth knocked out. He's like
Yeah.
that dude's like, I don't know if you ever watched the Holy Grail. There's this
Yeah.
knight and they keep cutting off pieces. That's
He's the
Craig,
Black
but he's
Knight.
still someone. Yeah, he still ends up on stage though. That's him, and he's I'm trying to think of this one other injury he might have had too, but those are the main ones that come to mind. And
Wow.
he's jumped off stages and bruises and all those sort of things. And yeah, man. So he's easily far and away the most injury prone.
Um, and so actually, touching on something that you brought up earlier, so as a drummer, and I can like from a few people who I've met who are drummers, and then just historically, drummers from virtually every single band in existence, they go through a heavy strain on their body whenever they're doing their thing. You have to use so many muscles, include your wrist, your hand, your arms, legs, knees, back, neck. What are some practices that you have developed to kind of help lessen the strain, or I guess if not lessen, help speed up the recovery?
I mean, honestly, like at this point in life, I get a lot of shit because I don't practice enough. But dude, sometimes I literally have to just not play drums because it hurts sometimes, and I've been
Right.
playing wrong for so long that that's just how I play. My main thing, like I said, it's hardly ever injuries, but it's always like chronic things that develop, little deteriorations. I'm probably going to have crazy arthritis. I probably kind of have it already. My knuckles are in constant pain, but that's also because I do a lot of boxing stuff too.
Right.
But like I said, my neck and back. So, I mean, dude, I'm constantly doing just like chiropractic stuff and just different types of stretches, but that's part of why I'm so into fitness, because I'm constantly having to strengthen the smaller muscles in the body. But the problem is it's like you can't really train joints, like they're once they
Yeah.
wear out they're gone. So I just kind of have to work around them and strengthen them in a certain way. And I have changed my drum kit over the years to where it's a lot more comfortable. I've lowered my
Right,
seat
yeah.
just a little bit. I've like just had to make it to where it's like, well, this doesn't look ideal, but this is a lot easier. I always had a big drum kit, but now I kind of minimalize it a little bit more so that it's a little bit easier to hit this ride. So I'm here. So my hi-hats are here, ride is here, as opposed to over here
Yeah.
and over here where I'm overextending my shoulders and things like that. But then the adrenaline kicks in the show and it all just goes to shit. So, but yeah, that's just you just got to stay in shape basically and go
Right.
to the chiropractor and stuff like that, you know?
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. Um,
And honestly, the other thing is also I have to balance. I can't be the same crazy guy that I was as a kid when I was like 17, 18 playing shows and just thrashing my head around. I do have to sometimes just enjoy the fact that you know what? I might not look as insane, but I'm going to sound better, so just appreciate that. And I can't do it. You know, I can't like
right.
I have to save it sometimes and like when that moment's there, go for a be the showman that you love being, but I can't do it 100% of the time. So yeah, sometimes I just have to appreciate the playing, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. So, so you have often been quoted saying that Escape the Fate is not definitively one member or one album. Like it's a collection of your musical history, which I absolutely agree with 100%. So, but regarding this album portion, would you say that is still true with I Am Human and the upcoming untitled release of your new album?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just watched the Temptations movie a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
and it works so much like that where there's one scene where this guy's like, what has the group ever done for me? And he's like freaking out. And I
right,
was
yeah,
like thinking, like, yep, that's how I feel a lot. Like, what has this group done for me? But it's always about the group. It really is always about Escape the Fate as a brand, as a company, as a collective, as a
right,
musical entity combined. There are various points where our individual needs will be what is fitting for the group needs. Um, but that isn't always the case. So, you know, I obviously, because it's, and, you know, you guys have known me, you know, the song If Only, how much it means to me, amongst a couple others that stem mostly from me. I had to fight for that song. The guys were like, "We've already had an acoustic song. I didn't really do that well." I'm like, "No, I need that song. I don't care if it's hugely successful. I need to hear this thing and
right,
your guys are my band. Help me fucking get it there." And that was me yelling and complaining. And then they've had stuff where I'm like, "This shit's fucking garbage. This sucks. Why do we can't put this out?" And they're like, "No, dude, you're wrong." And we have to do it. So there is the very volatile slash delicate balance
of
of
course.
being able to feed our own artistic needs while at the same time having to think about the big picture and think that, you know what, sometimes let's take a step back and maybe this isn't what you dreamed it would be as far as a sound, but it's good and a lot of people like it. So like for example, the song "Do You Love Me?" I never was into that one
Right.
like too much. I was like, this isn't really my thing. And I remember playing a massive festival in Brazil, and that was one Thrasher had a you know a main part in, and I'm looking at him and he's rocking out, and there's 5,000 people going off to this song, and I said, well, I'm just happy to be part of his dream,
Yeah.
you know, and he does that for me. And I do that for the other guys, and they do that for me. And Craig sings some of my lyrics, and I try
Right.
my best to drum to his music. And it really is a collective effort. It's just every song is so individual. So at this point, absolutely. And it is not easy to do work, man. We still fight a lot.
Oh yeah.
Decisions, they're getting easier to be made because sometimes you just let one person who's just flowing take the lead, but it is definitely a struggle, man, to just come up to a conclusion on whatever the project is in front of us.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So then, okay, so we're gonna take a step. We're gonna take a step in this direction, and then I want to after this question, go kind of into the past for a few minutes. So the whole band album thing, how people perceive it, is one of the biggest misconceptions that I have heard about in relation to Escape the Fate as a band. What is like another really big misconception that you've heard that you would be willing to clarify right now?
Like I think you're alluding to when people come in and say, I miss the old heavy shit, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you mean
what are you
this?
talking about? We've always had heavy and not heavy songs spread out. Yeah.
There's a balance in your music,
Um,
yeah,
I don't know. I think honestly, I I just I don't know. It's kind of because it has such a different meaning to people. What one era of the band or songs just
of
earlier with
course.
Mr. Spaghetti, I said, yo, he called dibs on this one because I know that's his favorite album from us, and that's the middle of the career. So yeah, at this point we're 3 albums in with the current lineup, so it's I don't know. I think it just I think that biggest misconception is just to reiterate that is that we've evolved and it really is about the name as a whole and the brand as a whole and appreciating
Yeah,
the entire evolution as opposed to attaching yourself just to one era. Like that's what your perception is. That might be what your favorite thing is about what the band did, but it doesn't define it as a whole.
of
Um,
course.
that's it. Other than that, I mean, but on tour and stuff, because some people think I'm a jerk. I'm not a
Right.
jerk. I'm not mean. Okay. You guys understand. I like to troll a lot, but people sometimes think I'm mean because I'm kind of standoffish. Interactions I have with people on the road from the other crew people and all that is because I have to go to the bathroom in the morning and it's really cold outside and I really don't have time for small talk.
Right.
Get out of my way. It's go time. you know? But yeah, I think that's maybe it's not a misconception, but it's something that the band has evolved and we're different now than we used to be.
Right.
And everyone's as men we're kind of evolving and growing up and changing in different ways. So yeah, that's the thing. But that's most people don't deal with that.
Yeah. So, you did an interview actually, no, you did a full profile for Drummer I think Drummer World magazine at one point, and it's even online right now. I think it was Drummer World. I don't remember if that's the actual name, but you basically walked through who you are as a drummer, what you are about your particular style, and how you started. And if I recall, you had heard like Metallica at the age of 10, and you were basically like, I need to play drums after seeing Lars like just absolutely destroy his kit. So what and you told your dad that and he bought that first drum kit, right?
Sort of. You got most of that right.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Lars was my biggest inspiration between him and Slash, my
Right.
biggest musical inspirations. But it was actually my dad's friend,
Right.
one of the guys in my tribe who practiced at our garage, and I just watching him wail away on those drums. I already loved Metallica. I already loved watching Lars play drums. It was so much more about his intensity, and it looked like I was watching him do something that was extreme, and it wasn't like a guy who was behind the singer.
Right.
He was like a focal point, and now people give him shit as he was not a good drummer or something, but he caught my attention and made me inspired. But then when I was watching my dad's friend, he had a thrash metal band, needed a place to practice. My dad said, I got a garage. They came over, they jammed. I couldn't take my eyes off of watching this guy play drums. It was so crazy, and he would sweat and he would hit hard, and his feet were fucking fast. Still to this day, one of the best drummers I ever seen. I wish he would have really pursued it as a career.
Right.
But that when I saw that, I told my dad, I need drums. And then he came to Vegas one time for work, and then he went to Hard Rock, got a pair of drumsticks, brought him home, and he said, "Here, I got these for you." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And I would set up his paint buckets and jam on those, jam on my bed, and Christmas comes, he gets me a drum kit.
That's awesome. What was your first
Yeah,
drum
it's
kit, by the
crazy.
way?
It was called a Sunlight drum kit
Ooh.
from the pawn shop. Yeah. No low grade from any major companies. It
Of
was just
course.
a cheap ass drum kit, basically a Walmart drum kit,
But it
and
got
I
you
rocked
there.
that thing. It got me through the first 4 years or 5 years until I was in high school.
Right on. All right, so continuing on this little history thing here, like taking it, like fast forwarding to you being in the band with Ronnie, Monty, Max, Carson, and Omar. Like in 2004, you guys put out the very first music video for "It's Not Good Enough for Truth and Cliches." Where was that? Were you just like out in the
That
desert in Vegas?
Yeah, actually, that's oh, well, I did move back to a different part of town, but that was actually where I was just living the last couple of years. I was actually not too far,
Oh
and
wow.
we drove by it one day to go to this awesome, beautiful, like huge oasis type park that they have there. Take my kids there, and I'm like, yo, this shit looks familiar. Like and I look and there's this specific house that's there that's one of those like it looks like a globe kind of thing, like a giant golf ball or spaceship looking thing. And we recorded some of it right there and it was like abandoned. And I drove past, I'm like, that's where we fucking shot the Not Good Enough video when I was in high school. And basically, yeah, there was this kid that was he was the school cameraman. We used to have this like news
Yeah.
station for the high school, and he was the camera guy, and he would always record everything. So he had the little setup. He came with us, and we went out, and it was kind of like the desert. At this point, Las Vegas is caught up to it, and there's houses beyond where that place is. But yeah, it was kind of on the desert. We just set up. A guy got mad at us, kicked us out. We found that abandoned house. We said this could be cool. It looks kind of, abandoned, industrial, gritty looking. Let's
Yeah.
just set up here. And that's all it was, man. We're just kids just trying to create something, and he did a pretty good job, all things considered. And
Right.
there was also the beginning scene. We're in a venue called uh, it was called the Roadhouse, which it was only a venue for a couple months, and venues were always opening up and shutting down in Vegas because there was always some kind of chaos that would happen. Fights would break out, gunshots would ring out, things of that nature. And so venues kept getting shut down. And that one maybe had like two or three major shows. And then that one happened, and our show happened. And then after that, it was like closed. And so you see that in the video as well. So yeah, it was crazy, man. Those were fun times for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, Escape the Fate has had like its history with its band members, but I have always personally wondered whatever happened to Omar and Carson.
Well, Carson, man, and that's so crazy that you know that stuff. That shows your nerd level right there.
I do research.
Carson he was from I think Montana,
Okay.
and that was the very very early phases of social media. So we had
Yeah.
MySpace, right? And we started kind of doing pretty good locally. And he kind of came around. Say hi to the doggy.
Hi,
And
Hux.
so when I see a dog, I just want to like grab its ears and like pet
Yeah.
its ears. But yeah, so he heard us on MySpace and he liked it and he said, "Yo, you guys need a keyboard player?" And we were all like super into Under Oath. And then there was also this other band called uh they had Marta was there, Bleeding Through. They had
Okay.
Marta as a keyboardist, and it was like, damn, that's sick. Yeah, we should get a keyboardist. And he came and we played a couple shows with us. He never had he never really played anything on the piano or anything. He had my old shitty keyboard and he would have some sound effects on like one or two. He would do the 808s on it sometimes. But
Right.
really he was just this hype cheerleader, looked kind of like the keyboardist of Under Oath. So we actually liked having him around. He was an excellent performer. He didn't do anything on the keyboard,
Right.
excellent performer, but he could sing. And that's what was important to us is he could actually sing. So he did all the backup vocals
Okay.
and harmonies and stuff. Um, oh my gosh, there goes the alert, dude. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you very much. All of you, Alicia Visual Raiders, welcome to the stream. I'm Robert Ortiz from Escape the Fate. This is Steve is the Duck. You can follow him at Steve underscore is the Duck on Twitch. He's actually interviewing me right now, one of my biggest supporters, and he asked if he could interview me. So here we are. So if you guys want to hang out and learn a little bit about the history of Escape the Fate and myself as a drummer and stuff, and yeah, so that's what we're going through. And also, he has a cool dog.
Yes,
Um, I'm surprised he's not eating you because you're the duck. Um, so yeah, man. Where were we at? Yeah, talking about
Carson.
Carson, our temporary keyboardist in Escape the Fate. Yeah, he basically he loved singing and he wanted to start his own band. He
Right,
didn't want to be just the drummer, or sorry, just the backup vocalist and just a guy who kind of stands around the keyboard and isn't doing much. He
right,
wanted to do his own thing. Um, and that's what happened. So he moved back to Montana and he started his own band, and he was doing that for a bit. And I haven't heard from him in shit, like 12, 13 years, maybe
wow,
even more. Saw him at a show once when we were playing in Washington, and that was it. As far as Omar, I chat with him once every couple years, just say hi. But he honestly just didn't really enjoy touring all that much. He loves music. He loves performing. Um, the reality is, we were young, and you know, drug addiction was a real thing in the
right,
band back then, and then we had all those struggles. And it's hard when you're starting out, man. You're in vans, you're in RVs, and it sucks, and you don't sleep, and you're always fighting, and you're always broke. And um so he didn't last very long because and on top of that, he had a son. So
right,
it was a new dad, and that was weighing on him, I'm sure. He had contemplating quitting the band before we really like started taking off. I remember he called us over to his house one day to have a meeting. I was crying, literally crying on the way there because I knew he was going to quit the band.
right,
And he said, I can't do it, man. I'm having a kid, and I know what it takes to do it in a band because he had done it before with a band called Love Hate Hero.
right, yeah,
And he's like, I can't invest that much of myself into this. So um I'm just gonna have to step out. And then like the next day, he's like, "Fuck that, we're signed. I can't give up on this. Now it's happening now. Like, what am I doing?" And then after a while, yeah, being in a band's hard, and he decided it just wasn't for him anymore. He didn't want to deal with all the things that come with being in a band. So he stepped away, and he still makes music now. And he produced some stuff. I think he has writing credits on the first Falling in Reverse album, so he still makes music, but for the most part, my understanding is that he's become a dad and stuff, and he just kind of does that sort of thing.
Well, actually, to give you a quick
So I don't know.
update, he actually created, I think, in like a few years after he left the band, he created a recording studio in
Yeah,
Colorado.
and actually, Craig has worked with them. Craig lived in I think Washington or
Right.
Oregon or some like right on the border, and Omar was living there at the time. So actually, they had worked together for a little bit, a couple
Oh, cool.
times. So yeah. So yeah, and I just haven't seen him in so long. I talked to him once, like, but it is what it is.
I
You just
understand
gotta
that
move on to the next phase.
friendships are hard to maintain sometimes. Distance
Yeah,
helps. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so then, during all of the incarnations of the band, and you, of course, can say you don't want to answer this one or you feel like you shouldn't incriminate yourself in any way, but have you ever participated in prank wars between members of the band or other bands?
Absolutely. Most notably, and I will have to give one Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse his credit because he had the most over the top, ridiculous, expensive prank of all time that I've seen. We're on stage, and he comes to the front of house, gets on the mic, and goes, "Guys, you can't be mad at me, okay? Just letting you know you can't be mad at me, but I pranked you." We're like, "What did this guy do?" He's like, you can't be mad, all right? Your bus is a little messy." And we go out there, open the door. I literally opened the door of the bus, and like those packing, like
Peanuts?
styrofoam packing peanuts pour out of the bus. I'm not saying like I looked and there was a bunch that literally come pouring out onto the street and cover me up to my shoulders. And I'm like, what the? And this is what poured out. And then I go and we're literally swimming in the bus. And like for months, because I sleep with a fan, I just, it helps me sleep. I need a fan, right?
Right.
There was little pieces of styrofoam getting stuck in there for months. And then like even a year later, I like one comes flying at me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm looking, there's still some there. I'm like, maybe I should clean this thing, I guess. But yeah, so those sort of things happen. Putting, inappropriate stickers on my drum kit, taking away my drum kit, that sort of thing. We once toured with a band called I Am Ghost, and you know, uh, we dressed up as ghosts, went on stage. I don't know. There's just always these stupid little things that go
Right.
on, but definitely that one took the cake, man. It was ridiculous how insane it was. That like it was so over the top. I mean, literally to the top of the bus, all the way to the back, like just covered. I lost my in-ear headphones. Lost. It was
That's
crazy.
dedication. That's what that is.
Yeah,
Did you guys ever
I'm
get him
not
back?
super into it because it starts a war. If you start it, you can't do it. So I've never been the one to initiate. You know.
Right. Did you ever get him back though?
No, no, we gotta. And I'm afraid to. Honestly, I'm afraid to because I know that if I do, he's willing to go the next level
Right.
just to prank you back. You know.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah.
kind of transitioning back into up to today, is there any song in your entire discography that has up to I Am Human that has never been played live?
There's got to be several, to be honest. I'll just pull it up right here on the old iTunes and take a look. There's definitely have to be quite a few, but let's run them. I know on the self-titled, there's going to be some that we didn't. If we're to include all dying is your latest fashion, there's some in there. Um, shit, we could start at the damn beginning, right?
Right.
So if we go to dying is your latest fashion. As far as I've been involved, I know Ronnie's done his things as well with it, but Friends and Alibis never got played. Um, Cellar Door. Uh,
Interesting.
that's it from that album. And then we go to This War Is Ours. We've played all of This War Is Ours because we did the anniversary tour.
Yeah.
Um, although we've never played from the deluxe edition, we've never played a song called Behind the
I
Mask.
remember that
We
song.
did play Bad Blood though.
Okay.
Bad Blood was something we played. We never played Behind the Mask. Off the self-titled, uh, this will probably be the one with the most. We never played Zombie Dance. We played Lost in Darkness once. We've never played Prepare Your Weapon, never played World Around Me, and The Final Blow is on the deluxe edition, and we never played that one. So we're at like what, 6 songs right now? 7 songs?
7 songs, yeah.
Ungrateful. We've never played Forget About Me, Chemical Love, Risk It All, or Desire. So there you go. It's just a bunch, man.
Well, I
Let's
mean,
go through Havy.
yeah,
What were you
okay,
saying?
yeah. So I understand, like, there's a bunch of songs, it's hard to, like when you craft an album, you're in that moment, that heat where you're developing this stuff, and then you have to figure out what songs resonate with the crowd, what songs you've most practiced in on certain, uh, weeks, I think. So, yeah, I understand that there are a few more than a few songs that haven't been played live.
Well, back in the day was honestly there, like when This War Is Ours, when we were touring that album, there was songs that we just never had the technological capacity to perform because
Right.
we didn't used to run tracks and that sort of thing, and we didn't have in-ears, and it's like, well, we're not going to play this song because this is all a bunch of like weird sounds and synths and
It's
shit,
just
and the
me,
song would
right?
be stupid without it. Yes, that's the biggest example. And then we tried to play it one time because I would run it off a little iPod, but I
Right.
was clicked on the wrong playlist. So this is when we finally started running tracks. And I had this little iPod. I clicked the wrong playlist and it had the click for me that I would practice with, but it did not have the tracks on it. So it
Oh
was
boy.
just me up there and I'm jamming because I'm thinking I'm hearing the whole song, but there's nothing. There's so many tracks on that one. So it's just kind of like plucking a little bit on the guitar. And they just all kind of look at me and want to fight me. I'm like, what? What's wrong? What's happening? Because I can hear the whole song. Oh, like it was crazy, dude. So yeah, so that one, and then that kind of scarred us for a long time.
Right.
And then things like we lost the tracks on certain songs and we just never wanted to do them. But more recently, we've been into like we're gonna play some of the hits, we play some new stuff, but let's go back and pick some of these classics because now we do and it's easier. We're just more pros, so it's
Right.
like I might be sloppy here and there, but I'm gonna learn a song so quick. It takes me like 3 listens. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all this. I did this here. Then 2 listens, I'm good to go. So yeah, and then off Hate Me, the last record, there's Get Up, Get Out, Hate Me, The Terrible Children, I Won't Break, and Redline, End of the World. So that one has the most that we never played. We
Wow.
didn't necessarily love that album too much, so it did okay, but we love some of the songs on there a lot, and we still play, but some other ones we didn't. And then off the new record, yeah, we still haven't played a bunch of them. I Will Make It Up to You, Bleed for Me, uh, Recipe for Disaster, and Riot and Resistance.
Okay.
Like in height, and Let Me Be. We've never played Let Me Be, which somehow managed to be featured on 2 albums. Um, in hindsight, I wish we could trim the fat on some of this.
Of course. I can do that. Uh so
Hold up, hold up.
oh, on the interview you mean,
It's
or on
coming.
the songs?
This is a long one.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I can shorten it actually. Um
No, no, I'm saying the alert.
oh.
We're listening. We Are the Champions right now.
Oh my god.
Reaper's going. It's so beautiful.
I've seen it. I've seen the alert. It's
We
it's
are
hilarious.
the champions, my friend. It's so stupid. Still going.
Oh man.
Over on your stream, there was just like this is so dumb.
I
Wow,
I
wow, still going.
I have to say though, I admire your dedication for that particular alert. Like that took a lot of time, a lot of editing, and a lot of perfect placement.
I'm still the champ. Y'all remember that. Sometimes we got to break up the interview. We needed a break, I guess. But
Yeah.
that one was the Reaper 777. Thank you. And so for today, Mr. Reaper, we're giving away CDs. You might not have been here early to catch that. I know you have everything else, but we have talk to Angela. She'll let you know. Since you gifted 10, you get something. Anybody else is tuning in, same goes to you. Any one of we got a couple CDs, and when we hit the goal of that 150, I will be giving away a vinyl. And this week's top subber also gets a vinyl. Right now, that is Tracinda Lynn.
Way
But
to go.
when we hit every 50, I give away a CD. So now we're only 19 away from another CD giveaway. You give 10, you get one automatically. You get 50, you automatically get the vinyl because that's insane. Like that's so crazy. But yeah, so that's where we're at. And that was my video game history in one alert, the longest alert y'all probably have ever seen. I'm not the champ anymore, though, guys. I hate to say it, but let's get on with this. So,
Yeah, of course.
what's where were we at?
So actually, in connection to that song, our mutual mod, the Godmother, has asked a follow-up question to it, which is there a song that you have played live that you are tired of playing?
Um, it's not so much that there's any one song, but it does get sometimes a little bit redundant when I just really want to change it up because there's 3 songs that we play more than any. Um, this War Is Ours for sure. One for the Money. Um, those two, and then Gorgeous Nightmare works its way in there. Once in a while, I get tired of Gorgeous Nightmare. I do.
Right.
But the thing is about those, is that we play them like maybe not as much Gorgeous Nightmare, but the other two, those are such anthemic songs for us now. They're such a like just like a cornerstone of the band. And
Right.
even though One for the Money at the time, I've said it plenty of times that I thought that song was just straight trash. I was like, this is so dumb. And it's just like, if you're gonna have this a song with this little meaning, it better be the best song of all time. But turns out a lot of people really like it, and it grew on me. And I started to realize, and I've said this before, that there's songs that move you and there's songs that make you move, and that song makes people move,
Yeah.
including myself. So whenever we do play it live, it just reminds me of how many people actually enjoy this, and they don't need to cry when they hear a song. Sometimes you just want to turn up the music and just fucking jam and fucking open up the pit, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and so that song to me is an amazing song live, where it didn't necessarily used to feel that way. And This War Is Ours is the same thing. I think that's the bridge between the old school fan and the one that's like maybe has never really given the band too much of a chance, but they're like, oh yeah, I heard that song. Damn, this is sick live. It's crazy. So those are the only two that we play without a doubt
Hmm.
consistently. Um, it's all the other ones that kind of never sure. Like, do we just play the other songs that are more well known? Do we branch out a little bit more? But that's why over the years we've been doing a couple other things, like doing the This War Is Our 10-year anniversary, because it was like, dude, there's so many in here we've never played. Let's keep that shit like let's do it. Let's play some of these. Let's
Right.
branch out. Um, but then there's always new songs that we want to play too. So it's I don't know, man. We mix it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real quick, because Ronnie's in the chat and he's betting me. Um, if Ronnie drops 20 subs, he's gonna French kiss me. What? That's crazy. Well, either way, we do have a bet. 1v1. If I beat him or he, like, basically the loser has to French kiss the winner.
Okay.
That's kind of the ongoing bet. He
Interesting.
still hasn't shown up because he knows he's gonna lose.
I've paid my bet.
Anyways,
I have paid it.
I'm not the champion. We did not French kiss though.
No.
Uh, we had a different bet.
Very different.
Anyways, though, yeah, I get tired of playing a lot of the same songs. I do. So we have been making a conscious effort to switch it up here and there. And
Right.
when you do a cycle, like an album cycle, yeah, you kind of start to get weary of some songs. But I'm just noticing the difference now, where some songs are definitely um like they're gonna be there for a long time, like Broken Heart's gonna be there for a
Of
long
course. Yeah.
time. So and that's just how it is, and you start to appreciate it as time goes by.
All right. Now I want to transition into the business end of this. So, like, you've been quoted saying that being a musician, at least being a successful musician, is not just about making it, but about keeping it, and that
Yep.
um, it's much more than just playing music. Your band has become your brand, and you have to find that balance between art and business. So, with this in mind, during your over 16 years in this business,
Holy shit.
16 years since 2004,
Yeah.
16 years as an
Yeah.
established band, what would you say are your strongest qualities in this description of a musician?
Honestly, you guys call me the Bob the Boomer, right? And when you say that, it's like you're old and you don't know like what the kids are doing these days.
Right.
But in reality, dude, when it comes to the business model of the band, or even the music itself, which, has its ups and downs in my ears, whether, the quality of each song, it's honestly two things for me personally, and Craig and others who have managed to have careers to varying degrees of success. The fact that I'm able to still support my family playing music is insane. Um, it's resilience and adaptability.
Okay.
Those are the two main things, right? So if I keep trying to beat a dead horse, it's simply not going to work. Be that in the music, or be that in, the way of going about the business. Um, being here right now is a form of how I've adapted. I don't know what Twitch is going to be about. I've done Patreon and I had some, levels of success growing a community there and I had fun and a lot of people were into it. Um, but it didn't accomplish a bunch of things that I wanted to with it. And and it's cool that Ronnie was in here because he's the one who said you got to go on Twitch. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll see. I don't play video games. I don't. And he's like, dude, you gotta do it. Just trust me. And then I saw what he was doing. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. This is what I want. And it doesn't have to be just this way. I could take little bits that I like from other people and I could do my own thing and create my own thing and just change it up. Right. So
right,
um it's all about adaptability. And okay, so the band can't tour right now. That sucks. What's
right,
the best next thing is that we could perform together and we could at least stream it to you because you can't go to shows. So maybe you could chill, put it on your TV, put it on your phone, whatever, you're chilling, making food, and you could enjoy the music, have a beer, and just watch us perform live. Oh yeah, I like watching live videos. Maybe other people will. So you adapt. You try things. Not all of them work. You try different styles of music. Not all of them work. You sometimes say, guys, maybe we just forgot how to fucking write a song. Let's go to a producer who's having a lot of success right now and let's get some advice and let's
right,
work with him. Maybe he can help us create something that would be great. So it's you got to always just adapt and change, and it's weird. And I am so hard headed, and I am the old school guy, and I just want to go and play ACDC style, just two guitars, drums, bass, vocals. But it's just like so many people come in with new energy to teach you something
right.
new, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this is cool, and no, we've never had a smash hit before, so why not try something? And then yeah, and then again, that same model with the business. You got to try different ways of reaching people. You could fight um, downloading music, or you could just face it head on and innovate with it. And
right,
those are the things. And I've been lucky to have labels and managers and bandmates and producers who have had foresight and could see certain aspects of the way people would receive music, and I could kind of like I just honestly get lucky. Like that's it. So that's for me. And the other side of again is the resilience factor, where it's gonna be ups and downs,
of
man.
course,
There's gonna be a lot of sleepless nights. There's gonna be a lot of fights. There's gonna be a lot of being broke, a lot of being very, very much not broke, where you're like, "What? Made it? Hell yeah!" Like this is insane. I can't believe this. And then it's just like then you're scared because like, oh, maybe this song isn't doing what it should have done. And then guys get tired. They want to go home. Maybe they don't want to play music anymore. And you just stick with it. And at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. So
right. Now,
those two factors.
since you guys have been in the business, I'm going to ask you two different questions that kind of divert avenues in how you would expand it. So you guys have been a part of multiple labels: Epitaph, Interscope, and its subsidiaries, Universal, and currently 11/7, who has released your last, I think, two or three albums.
Three, yeah,
Three albums.
four coming up, yeah.
And Kevin, I know Kevin does some producing outside of the band and with the band, but if Robert Ortiz were to start up his very own independent record label, what would be the first five bands you would sign to your docket?
I mean, I don't even know how to answer that because it's like what. I mean, I'm trying to think of unsigned bands. Like, what do you? I don't
Well,
know.
no, like
I don't
who?
know.
Like, imagine you had free reign. You could pick any five bands that are currently active, even Metallica, who is like semi-active. Like, who would you pick for your first five to sign?
Well, so if I have my dream scenario, I actually this is interesting. I like this because my mind automatically thinks like, who's my cash cow and who do I believe in? They just haven't gotten the proper treatment yet. Um, Honestly, like I would say Metallica, but even in a dream scenario, I would still be like, nah. Reality is they want complete control over everything they
Right.
do, so no. So you need someone who still needs help there.
Needs guidance.
Um, yeah, honestly, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Like I would love I would love a band like, say, like probably like someone like Five Finger Death Punch. I think that they're I mean, first of all, they're massive, so that's great, and I could still work with them and learn and all that kind of stuff and believe in them and just like support them and let them do their vision and help them find ways to market themselves and do certain things and innovate and create a team that could do those, right?
All right,
In
yeah.
this scenario, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In your mystical
Fictitious, yeah.
fantasy creating record label thing, right? Um, and they would be kind of a cash cow for me. So it would allow me to take chances on other people, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so then at that point, then I would look at some old school bands that I like that I think could be cool and maybe need some guidance. And I don't know,
Would
honestly,
you
man. I
branch into
really
other
don't.
genres like Florence?
Yeah. Oh, damn. That could be insane. I wouldn't even know what to do with that. To be
Right,
honest, straight up, I wouldn't even have a clue of where do I go? How do I market this person? How do I like what radio station are you gonna get played on? What
right.
playlists do you get put on? Fucking who do you tour with? Like, I don't know. Like that's just way too out there. even
That's a whole
even in
other
a
team.
fantasy scenario, I can't do it.
You own the record
so
label, you have a team for that, they're fine. They got it.
I don't
Um,
know, man. But there's some like I would probably just want all my homies, dude. I want Blackville Brides.
yeah,
I want Asking Alexandria, Falling in Reverse, Us, like the Word Alive. I would just want to like run the scene,
right, of
and all the
course.
bands that are similar to us and the bands that are coming up that I haven't even heard of yet, and
You
give them the opportunity and help them kind of piggyback off of some of the fan bases we created and introduce them to our fans because maybe they would like them and tour together and that sort of thing. So yeah, I would honestly kind of just want to put all of us in that sort of genre and space together.
okay,
I
cool.
Prevail, a band like that, you know what I mean, and other bands that might not be quite as big and that sort of thing. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
cool.
that's what I would do.
All right, so after your stunning performances, and the other band members' stunning performances in music videos such as "Do You Love Me," "Gorgeous Nightmare,"
I should have won an Oscar. I'm kind of upset about it.
has anyone in the band ever considered, maybe trying their hand at acting?
Um, Craig is in an upcoming movie,
Oh,
which our new music video features scenes from it, and it will be released, I think, sometime this month. To be honest, um, but I honestly considered it for
yeah?
reals because on Do You Love Me, I had such a good time with it. And after that, like it was weird because I simultaneously like we're doing that. I'm thinking, I gotta kind of take this thing seriously. So I'm gonna try to work out as hard as I can and cut food, yelling at my mom because she put salt on my food. It's like, no, I'm just gotta try to cut some weight, man. And then I'm like playing this character, whether I did good or not, I don't know, but like just thinking about putting my mindset in that and being on the set and hearing everyone laugh. My dad is the harshest critic and such a serious guy until he's completely wasted. Then he's hilarious. Then he's just kind of annoying.
Right,
But he's always very serious and he was laughing his ass off on this video shoot. So I was like, damn, if I can make my dad laugh,
right.
I'm onto something. Because if I could make my dad nod his head to one of our songs, I'm onto something. And he did eventually with this band. So I was thinking, man, this would be something I'm into. Simultaneously, while that happened, I discovered this podcast called The Rewatchables from a podcast network called The Ringer. And they would talk about all like a bunch of favorite movies that you could watch a bunch of times over and over, and it's they started talking about all these movies and not the typical huge blockbuster movies most of the time, and they would describe the way they would act and they would compare it to sports and be like, damn, and these scenes he was just like he just couldn't miss. He was on fire, dude. He was like Michael Jordan in his peak. I'm like, what? How do you talk about acting that way? I didn't
Right.
know you could. I didn't know you could tell that someone was doing a good job. And I so these sort of things happen at once. made me appreciate acting so much more,
Of
made me
course.
appreciate a good script and a good character development. And I started really thinking like, what the fuck? What if I really did this? Because this is so interesting to me. And it just, I don't know, it just seems too late. You know what I mean? And like, I know it's not because Morgan Freeman didn't start until he was like 70, basically.
Yeah.
But
for
it's just,
for however
I don't
many
know.
years he's been 70. Um, okay, so actually, this leads me to another interesting question that I think would be I think might be also funny. So with the advent of music biopic films like Rocket Man
The
and
Rock would play me.
The Rock, 100%.
The Rock,
Have you ever
100%.
considered like so? Did you ever see the movie Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes,
Would
love
that be
it.
your buddy movie?
Uh, wait, what do you mean?
I'm just I'm asking, like, if you could
Wow.
play a movie with The Rock, would it be a remake of Twins or would it be something else?
Oh, see, I thought you were gonna ask who would play me in the Escape to Fate biopic
Well,
or biopic.
I figured you were gonna say The Rock. I was gonna ask if I was gonna ask who you think would play like other members of the band, but I think if you were to be in a movie with The Rock, would it be a Twins remake or would it be something else?
I know because the premise of Twins starring Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger is that they look completely opposite of one another.
Right, yeah, they're
The,
fraternal.
the Rock and I would look more like father and son as opposed to ironic twins. So then I don't know. We would just blow some shit up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, let's start with your first part. Who would play the members of the band?
yeah.
The Rock would play me. Danny DeVito would play Craig. Um, TJ could be pulled off by Johnny Depp, which is crazy. Um,
Especially with that stash he
Thra-
was rocking not too long ago.
Thrasher would be performed by either gosh, what was his name? He played Cosmo Kramer. Um,
Oh, oh man, I don't remember
who am
his
I thinking
name.
about? Who
Are
am
you
I
sure
thinking
you want to
about?
play him? There's a lot of controversy around that guy.
Yeah, I know, but I made fun of him one time with that. He'd be played by. He'd have to be someone quick-witted. It'd probably be a new guy. I don't
There's a
know.
guy
I
from
don't know
a
who.
movie Pitch Perfect who actually kind of looks a little bit like Thrasher. I just don't remember his name, but I
Let's go
think
with that guy.
yeah. Um, what do you think that like timeline wise? Because like the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody movie like took place over various stages over their career with Freddie. What would the Escape the Fate film cover?
Oh, I mean, you'd have to do it all. You would, you know.
Make it a
The
miniseries, maybe.
hard part about it, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is what would be kind of the focal point, like the focus of the film. What would it
Right.
be? And then you would have kind of answer that question. And I don't know what that would be. And in those types of movies, the happily ever after happens and the credits roll, and then the words the or before the credits it rolls up on the screen like, and then they did this. What moment would that be for us?
Right.
Maybe that would be this new album that's going to drop, and they survived COVID and they went on to have a successful album. I don't know. um that's interesting. I think you would have to focus on all the phases of it. And I don't know, as being like, I don't know, would it kind of surround itself with my story as because I'm the guy who was there in the
Yeah,
beginning? I
you've
don't
like
know. Would
I was
we?
thinking the same thing. It would focus on you and your experiences as you move through because you've been there since the very beginning, the OG.
Yeah, that's weird to think about. I don't know. I don't know because it's like it's a small phase in the beginning and then
Right.
it's long. But then now that we're friends and we do these tours again, and then I don't know. It's weird,
Maybe it
man.
could end at the Bury the
It's
Hatchet
weird.
tour. Maybe that would be like, and then they all kind of came back together and were bros again.
Yeah, yeah, and they became Twitch friends. Like, I don't know. It's crazy, man. So I think either that or just honestly, I think we can't tell that story yet.
Of
for the
course.
next couple years,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
definitely.
I think that's when we'll kind of decide in the next, like, let's say 5 to 10 years, what would be the definitive turning point. Like, if you think those types of movies, you look at Muhammad Ali, he regained the title after fighting George Foreman. The focal point was like he still had like another 7 years in his career
Right.
after that and lived for another like 40. But that was the point where he had overcome the struggle of his life
Right. Yeah.
and got back the title that he, unfairly lost without ever actually losing. And then there's like, you look at the same with Mickey Ward and his story, which was played by Mark Wahlberg in The Fighter.
Right.
His biggest part of his career was he fought a guy named Arturo Gatti. That's when he had his real big one, but that's what it said in the thing because it was getting to that point and having that opportunity. That was the story, and then that just kind of was the happy ending. Oh, he eventually did get the big money fight. So I don't know, I think that tale is yet to be seen, so
Okay.
I'm not sure. And 5 albums, six going on six with Craig, but it's such a big part of my life to do the Dying Zay's fashion, so I don't know.
All right. Cool.
That's
I
so I'm gonna be thinking about that all night.
I hope I hope I'm doing a good job with this then. Cool. So I had a few questions related to Motley Crue, but I know that so many people have asked you questions about that over the years. I kind of want to focus more on one specific thing. So since you guys created Walk On, and that's going to be featured in Nikki Sixx's film Snow Babies, and all the proceeds for that song are going to charity. Um, what do you does Escape the Fate like have any plans to do something similar to this in terms of charity down the line?
um The short answer is yes. Um, as far as in life, I plan to do something like that again. The longer answer being that there's nothing actually literally planned out in
Right, of
and
course, yeah,
actually, although we are doing that USO thing tomorrow, which it's weird because they don't necessarily focus completely on raising money. That isn't their primary goal. It's really just for giving the troops some relief and
of
like
course,
we don't, when you think about the troops and their sacrifice when they go into combat and even when they're just stationed overseas away from their family, like a lot of them during COVID, their quarantine has been a lot more insane than, oh man, I gotta wear a mask when I go to the store. Their quarantine is, oh my gosh, hold on. Hold up, hold up,
yeah.
here we go.
Oh, big one again.
Another five, a five one. Look at Aaron.
Oh man,
The timing. The timing.
break time.
Wow, Aaron, we're having a serious discussion about charity and stuff, and you got me over here to drop that one. All right, talk to Angela.
Way to go,
Um,
Aaron.
li- listen, but here's the thing. So, yeah, so for the troops, they're stationed, they're in base, whatever. They haven't gone to see their family since this whole thing started.
Right,
Like their way of going about it is way stricter than everybody else because their whole thing is if we erupt into a war, we can't have outbreaks within the bases and that thing. So that's to my understanding. So don't quote me on it because that's what I've been told, right?
right,
So yeah, so it's just kind of the USO's obligation is to kind of send some relief to some troops and have them, be able to have some fun and do some things. So if you go back to like the 50s, Marilyn Monroe and Bob Hope and things like that, entertaining them during the world wars and that sort of thing. So that's kind of like that's a little bit of what we're doing. Maybe in the future we'll play on some battleships or things of that nature, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And obviously as we've evolved as men, we've also we've grown and we've seen the like the things like addiction and that sort of thing.
of
So
course.
that's why Walk On was like yeah, we want to be part of that. And I see in the future there's little bits and pieces and like when I went when there was a shooting in El Paso, I just felt compelled, and I was like, I don't know how much money I can get. I don't know how to raise it. I don't know what to do, but I got to do something just to help some people out. And there's families that get affected, and their lives are completely turned upside down. So I just felt obligated to go over there and lend whatever celebrity I had in my hometown to raise some money, and we did. It wasn't an absorbent amount. Maybe online there was more, but it was just like some way of giving back, and I loved
Of
it, and I
course.
fell in love with that feeling of putting someone else before myself. you know Although I enjoyed that feeling for my own just consciousness, right, or my own conscience. um it was just rad to think about somebody else before myself. and
Of course.
and in the future we'll probably do more like that, because we're learning, and as we get a little bit older, and as I said, we evolve as men within the band. We think about, like, how we can take the stupid mistakes we've made and uh, help other people learn from our mistakes, and that way they could have a better road in life than we did.
Of course.
So that's in the future. The long answer, 100%.
Cool. Um, all right. So I okay, so last two questions before we talk about family, because I know that's a really big thing for you.
Yeah.
Um, so there was a question about Patrick Stump in the song Painting, but I think Raven actually asked that a while ago, and you provided a really solid answer for it. But I did want to know, this would be a transition into sports right now. So I know you do fantasy football. You do fantasy football with like all your
Two-time champ,
big
yes.
friends. I think instead of asking you like who would be your dream team, I want to see if you could assemble an all-star team of football players, who would be the person to coach them and bring them to victory?
Ask it one more time for me real quick. I think I'm frozen for you, by
Oh
the way,
yeah, a
with
little
my
bit.
camera.
I just saw
Okay.
that. Yeah. Okay.
It was
So
Let me see if I can fix this real quick for you. Sorry, because we're talking football. Now I get excited. Damn, hold on. Let me just restart the app.
trying to do as much different interview stuff as I can, so that way it
It's
can.
just covering my whole life, bro. This is crazy.
Well,
Oh, I think
I've
the phone's
read
overheated.
other interviews that you've done, and like I know that whenever celebrities do interviews, sometimes they can get like they can feel like a routine. It's just so boring
Yeah,
and
yeah.
monotonous. But I wanted to change
Well,
that.
we've lost the camera. Something's happening with this phone, which I've been borrowing the camera from. I think it's overheated. This is an
That's
old one.
understandable.
This is the one that my daughter's playing on. So,
Got it.
but anyway, so let's go one more time. Say it again, because I'm stoked.
Okay, yeah. So if you were to assemble your all-star football team, who would be the coach that brought them to victory?
Oh my gosh, another one. This is ridiculous.
It is.
Why do I make them so long? Why do I
Because
make them so long?
you're a showman, Robert. You're a showman. You have to you got to make it as explosive as possible, and it's great.
Wow. My favorite songs are all like 10 minutes long. Like, you got a little patience.
I
If you
mean,
hang out with the Irishman movie for the 4.5 hours, it pays off, dude.
oh yeah.
Titanic pays off. That's a long ass movie. All
I
right.
honestly personally
Um,
was never a fan of Titanic, but um,
what? It's good.
it's just like because like I'm a history nerd too, and there's just so much in the Titanic that just kind of like they did a really good job of recreating the ship. I'll say that, but like okay, first I'll be honest, the door scene is what bugs me the most. There was plenty of room
The
on
door
that
scene.
door. There was plenty of room on that door. Jack could have lived. Rose was just being selfish. There, I said it.
Um, First of all, Rose wasn't this and that. On the rewatchables, they have a thing called picking nits, where you bring up things like that, right?
Yeah.
First of all, you're wrong.
Okay.
Rose was not being selfish. She didn't say, "No, stay down there, fucker."
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
Okay. She
That's
never
true.
said, don't come on this door with me. Secondly, it was Leonardo DiCaprio's unselfishness. The whole point of that thing was that it was just like it's the song. That's the message of the whole movie is that
Right.
Celine Dion song, My Heart Will Go On. It's about having that moment in life that just stays with you forever. And you just are in love with that person the rest of your life. And
Of
it's
course.
such a fleeting moment. It was only a couple days, but that impact lasted forever. You saved my life, and I was in love with you, and it was crazy. And he selflessly didn't want to try to hop on that door and risk toppling her over.
Right.
I'm assuming otherwise, come on, man, just hop on that door,
Right.
dude. You're being dumb. Or was he trying to paddle to one of the lifeboats? Like what it didn't look like it, but it was
No.
getting pretty cold.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Okay,
But
so
then she was like, fuck you, and pushed him off into the ocean. Wow, that was crazy.
who?
Which coach would I have coach my fantasy fictional all-time team?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick.
Okay.
I'm not a Patriots fan, but the GOAT is the GOAT. Like, we don't need to go over all his accolades. The man has won more Super Bowls than any other coach. It's not debatable, and been to more Super Bowls than any other coach. Still relevant 20 years later. Some coaches get outdated. Still relevant. Again, adaptability.
All right. Okay, cool. Um all right. Pizza and wings or burger and fries?
Oh my gosh. Depends on each.
Okay, let's
Uh,
say you're in
Best burger and fries versus best pizza and
yeah.
wings.
Okay, yeah. So
Mm,
what are those?
Oh my gosh. Oh, this one's hard, dude. And we got another 35-minute alert, so we could just hang out while
Yeah,
this
sure.
game
So
is.
oh man.
Oh shit, it's the Megan one. I forgot. That's what you get. Wow. Three, two, one. Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that was there.
That's great.
I didn't even know that was there. That's
That's
what she
great.
gets though. Fuck her, dude. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with this is tough. Ooh. Ah, ah, fuck it. I hate you.
I
Oh
had to
my
do
gosh.
food. I
Pizza
had to
and
do
wings
food.
versus burger and fries.
I had to do food. You
Uh,
did that whole thing on the tour, on your tours, like doing food stuff. I had to do one food question.
bitch. I'm gonna go. Oh, damn. All right. Because you said wings,
Right.
not all great pizzas you need to go with wings. So I'm gonna say
True.
burger and fries. I'm
Okay.
gonna go no, yeah, burger and fries because I can document my greatest burgers of all time. I can't do the same with pizza.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Got it. Um, all right. So then, oh yeah. So I'm assuming every member of the band is like a fan of zombies, right? Like you all love zombies, right? I know you and Craig are big major zombie fans.
Yeah, Greg and I definitely are. TJ is a lot. Thrasher's different, man.
Oh,
He's not tuned into a lot of the, pop culture stuff like that.
got
He
it.
is a in the studio kind of guy.
Okay, so how would you say, do you think that current zombie movies measure up to the classics of Romero?
Define current.
So like let's go with probably one of the bigger ones, Zombieland.
Never seen it.
Okay,
Never.
let me think. 28 Days Later or World War Z. I think 28 Days Later is vampires actually.
Ooh. Um. Well, I think the biggest difference in them is right out the gate is budget, right?
Right.
Like, how you gonna have a zombie movie with fucking Brad Pitt, right? Like, that's insane, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think, to be honest, I think they measure up just fine against those in terms of like their entertainment value. I think they're great for me as a zombie elitist, because before many people on this stream think Princess were born, I was already watching zombie movies. Okay,
Right.
um, so I'm a zombie elitist. My zombies, they don't they don't run. They're not viral zombies, meaning they can't you can't like be airborne and like just like turn into a zombie, right? Like you have to
Right.
get
Yeah.
bitten by a zombie or some kind of unexplainable. They can come from the grave. Um, my zombies also can dance along with Michael Jackson. That's the closest activity they
Right
can
on.
do as far as exercise. Um, I like spooky zombies more than horrifying zombies.
Okay.
You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
like there almost has to be that tongue in cheek factor to it. Like this is
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
you gotta shoot him in the head. That's the only way to kill him or whatever. But I do find World War Z. I thought it was very entertaining. I liked
Right.
it. I like how like similar to the way the Dark Knight tries to bring that into real world. I like that. And I think 28 days later, 28 weeks later has the greatest movie intro of all time.
Oh, I agree 100%. That movie's
Right? Like
phenomenal.
the opening bank robbery scene from The Dark Knight with respects to that, one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite top two movies of all time. The that 28 weeks later opening scene, holy shit.
It's so insane. It
Absolutely.
goes from 0 to 60 so fast.
Yeah, and I also did love the remake of Dawn of the Dead as well. I thought that was
Okay.
incredible.
Right
Which
on.
also has an excellent opening scene, despite having all these movies running zombies. Do they measure up? Absolutely. I think they're great in their own right. The only zombie type situation that I'm not into is uh, The Walking Dead.
Okay.
I think that's the only one that I'm not a big fan of. Reason being is because I just can't do cliffhanger shows, man. Like
Oh, yeah.
I can't have a movie that's or a show whatever that's constantly to be continued. What happens next? Like, dude, like I need like let's tell the
Closure.
story.
Yeah.
Let's what happens because I can't tell you if this is a good story or not until it ends.
Right. Of course. I think they just killed off Rick not too long ago.
Cool. Thanks for
It
spoiling it for everybody.
it wasn't a spoiler. They announced it consistently across everything. Like, oh yeah, this is he's leaving the show. Um,
Did you ever watch um what's it called? The damn it, what's it called? There's a couple. Did you watch Land of the Dead?
yes, I did. I have a Romero collection somewhere in my apartment next to my Hitchcock movies.
Same. So what because that's the one where I think Romero lost his mind officially and was like let's give zombies feelings.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's like there was a one main zombie. He just kept bitching about everything. They're being mean to us, and he felt and he became tribal. It's like let's get. It became Planet of the Apes,
Basically.
but zombies. You know what I mean? And it was like, come on, man! Like, there's like what? Like, defeats the whole horror of zombies that they're mindless cannibals. So
Well, I thought it was.
still
I agree with you on that, but I also think that what the way Romero did that, because with his whole like insert title Dead series, you see an evolution, like a progressive evolution
entertaining.
of how these zombies begin to become like people. And I think he was creating this like slight motif about how people like in the real world are kind of becoming zombies just like over time. It's a very slow thing.
Yeah, each movie, there was four of them. Each one, the zombies were consistently, I guess, if you will, coming more back to life,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I loved all of them though. And where would you put a more campy movie like Return of the Living Dead Part Two? No one's ever seen Return of the Living Dead Part One, but Part Two, what do you think about
I honestly My thing about Return is that it it works very well for the way it was for what it was meant to be. But in terms of like other Romero flicks, I don't think I would categorize it at the same level, honestly. Like I was like a really big fan of Shaun of the Dead growing up, which was the
Hell yeah.
Simon Pegg parody. And honestly, I think in terms of entertainment value, I found Shaun of the Dead a lot more entertaining. Even comedy removed, I found it a lot more entertaining than Return.
Return of the Living Dead Part 2, just so we're on the same
Yeah,
page, because that was not Romero. That was the one
right.
where
Sorry.
there's like a army military canister that gets
Yeah,
spilled, brings back a zombie. So now there's like this cadaver that comes back to life. They manage to chop it up and they put it in the incinerator, and it gets the smoke from this zombified body
right. Yeah,
goes into the clouds, and now it rains zombie fluid onto the graveyard, and they come back to life. And those are the ones that won it brains. For
yeah.
my money, greatest zombie movie of all time, Thriller, Michael Jackson.
It's hard to disagree with you there. You got a really
Impossible to.
great song. You got Vincent Price, horror icon. I mean, how can you beat it?
I wonder if Return of the Living Dead Part 1 exists. Anyways, moving along.
Okay,
Give me this
so
shit forever.
I'm assuming you and Craig are super prepared for the apocalypse then, for that zombie apocalypse, right? Like you guys have like a system set up.
I have a lot of knowledge, but no, I used to prepare a lot more for it. I had things lined up because I watched so many movies that I was like, it's happening. Like, how can it not? The crowbar, aside from shotguns, the crowbar is the most useful household item because it's less likely to bend. I did read the zombie survival guide.
Oh, I have that too. Yeah.
Nice,
So you
good. We'll
too
be
are
prepared.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy. We're like
um
into this secret underground society
just
that we
like
didn't know we were in.
there are people who have this book and they're all ready. We all know. Yeah.
We know, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so I want to progress into the very last segment, like last, I think, three-ish questions about family. Now, family, you have stated through a lot of your interviews on Twitch that it has been a major value in your life, and that was extremely evident when I Am Human was released. So, what is it like balancing that act when you're out in public with your family? Like, how do you separate Robert the drummer from Robert the family man?
I mean, well, that to some degree, I could say that if it as a blessing that the band's certain size. So right, so like if I was a global icon, obviously, like that would be crazy, right?
Yeah,
But with that said, there are still fans out there in public that want a picture, but it's a lot easier to say yes to like one or two, right?
of course,
As far as to kind of go a little bit more into like the sacrifice of the touring aspect and what that's like, and in although the going out in public thing, where that takes place more is when my girls start to find out that they can Google me. That's kind of scary. um and I'm just, I do wonder. I'm like, I don't know, because the thing is, there's always been a lot of things that are kind of sacred to the way we create the art, um, in that we are more open-minded to kind of talking about things where we might not necessarily address certain feelings and topics just on an interview or just talk about it in public.
of course.
We talk about it in our songs, um, and we just let people kind of interpret it a little bit. So that's one thing where when my kids like start to understand that, it's going to be interesting to see like, oh, dad, you were this weird partier back in the day, and oh, you did these violent songs, and you did this, and your songs cuss, and your songs are. I'm like, well, it's life. You go through it
Yeah,
all, and it took me a long time to realize that my parents weren't perfect, and it's going to be a little different course for them. And I have to wonder if, like, how much do I push them? Do I want them to go through that same struggles of trying to be a business owner and trying to be a celebrity and wanting to hide away from it all? Because regardless, it's way harder to get away from people for me than it is for most people. I
Right.
think everyone has their own little way of, because of social media, that it's hard to get away from things. But for me, it's even harder than the average person, and I have friends who are very famous and they struggle with it tremendously, because they have to, like, be so particular about every single fucking word they say and
Right.
every single person that's in their life, because it could just be this massive ripple. So yeah, it gets kind of weird. So I just want my kids to just, I don't know, I just have to just teach them right from wrong, like the average person. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. So it gets I don't know, man. I don't know. Whatever they want to do is cool, but I
I
don't necessarily need to encourage them to do music or something like
course,
that.
yeah. I mean, I've been there too. I think from like looking at my parents and how we were raised growing up, I feel like the hardest part about being a parent is realizing that the way you were raised might not have been the greatest experience. And just like you look back so fondly at certain memories and you realize, oh, wow, that's not super great. Why did I enjoy that? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Totally.
I think I think it's interesting because I mean you are so vocal about how much you interact with your daughters and your wife, and so as parents, you get to the point at when raising a child that their interests just become your interests, right? Like, have you hit that point at this point yet?
To some extent, but I know what you're saying, and like it's weird. I go back and forth with how much, like you say, anonymity, right? Like I go back and forth on how much I want to share my family with people. Like, I need to post a picture of everything and be like that? And then when I had them, like when they were born, I was like, that's all I want to do. I'm like, oh, look at my babies. This is crazy. And they're twins. How nuts is that? Right. And so it was like this whole thing. I went from, I was completely like barely ever on social media at all to that, and then I constantly go back and forth with how I feel about it. But if that's their interest, they haven't shown necessarily like anything just yet, as far as like they want to, like, maybe they'll start getting that age where they're just gonna start pursuing certain things. Like, I really like when you play music. Can you show me how to play that? I
Yeah,
think they're just before that age, but I'm seeing personalities. I'm seeing that Molly is very, um, she's like goal oriented. Like if I show her something, she's gonna keep doing it till she gets it right. And I see Miley, and she's very imaginative, and she loves dressing up and being a character and kind of an actress in many ways, and she loves that. Doesn't have that same sort of drive to perfect something, but
right.
she's constantly being creative. So they're taking aspects of my personality, and I don't know. We'll see what it holds, but if they want to play music, I'll encourage them, and I'll teach them all the things not to do, and I'll teach them as much as I know of what to do, and help them along the way. If they want to do sports, if they just want to do a different type of career altogether, something that would, they could benefit from school and college. And like to me, it's just like
Yeah,
I just want them to do the best at what they do. Maybe they're not into that. Maybe they just want to live the old school traditional life and be stay-at-home parents, and live in the traditional sense, or that kind of thing. It's good, whatever they want to do that makes them happy, and that's my whole thing.
right. Okay, so in terms of interests, my parents at one point, whenever they would watch the stuff that we were watching, they would like get a little bit invested in it. So have you guys? have you and Jessica like had a TV or a show that your daughters watch at this point that you have just like become fully invested in, or at least somewhat invested in?
In what respects?
Like you want to see what happens in the next episode because parenthood has gotten you to the point of like, I need to know how this episode ends, or
Um,
I'm
it,
excited to see this film with my kids.
in the simple sense, the kids don't watch as much like that. They watch a lot of YouTube now.
Okay.
Like my best friend Jordan, his boys, like they've started to kind of talk about like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a football player or whatever? They're like, oh, I want to be on YouTube. Like they already know,
Oh yeah.
well, you want to be a you, because to them that's what's cool. That's the celebrity. It's not a
Right.
TV show or whatever. But um, definitely Frozen. When the sequel is coming out, it's like, oh my gosh, I bought you so many Elsa and Anna
Right.
dresses, so many shoes and everything. Like when that movie came out, it's like, wow, you got to take them and then do the Disney on Ice. It's all about Disney with me. Those are the ones that I'm invested in. I'm like, if I see a preview for something, I'm like, I can't wait to show this to them. I feel like they're gonna love it. When the new Trolls movie came out, I was like, I can't wait for them to see this, that sort of thing. So
Right.
yeah, it's a lot of that for sure. And what's cool is like now there's some shorts, Simpsons shorts on the Disney Plus where it's like Maggie, so they can watch it, and like Maggie's just kind of going around having these little adventures where they're not talking. So now they like the Simpsons, and I'm like, I
That's
don't
great.
know. I don't think it's appropriate for you to watch some of this. Maybe it's not bad. I don't know. Simpsons isn't too crazy. I'm kind of like, can't wait to watch that with you. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely the Disney movies, man.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
most thing where I want to. I can't wait to watch this with them again, and they're always good,
Right
always
on.
good.
Okay, and this is like officially okay, no, so do you have two pieces of advice that you would give to brand new parents?
Wow. Yeah. Honestly, the hardest part about being a parent is actually being a parent with someone else,
Right.
because you both really don't know what you're doing. You both kind of get a sense of things that you need to do, but you have to be patient with each other. Whatever your situation is, you have to respect each other's like um that you're going to have a certain say, they're going to have a certain say, and that kind of thing. But it always comes down to patience with these kids, man, and you're going to feel parent guilt no matter what you do. No matter what. If you enjoy a moment of your day that isn't work to you, that's a moment you could have spent with them. And then
Right.
you're always going to feel that. So it's just kind of like you have to roll with it. It's never going to be perfect, but you just got to do your best. So just be patient, you know?
Yeah. And then this is the officially last question in our like almost 2 hour interview here. Holy
Man,
crap, I
this
did
has
not
been fun
expect it.
though.
Yeah, it is. I really enjoyed this.
Well, we really only talked for 20 minutes, but then the rest was just two alerts.
Yeah. That's true. Um, so I know If Only was inspired by your grandfather and his passing, and like you've talked about how he was such a big influence for you as like growing up. Did your grandfather ever give you any like piece of wisdom that has stuck with you throughout all of everything?
There's like there's a lot of things. I think when like in this moment, just you asking like this, thinking back and piecing these little things together, these little tidbits that he would drop. The moral of it all is to kind of be empathetic. Um, and I like those little things that they say that just kind of just they're always in your brain, and it creates habits and you don't realize why you do this the way you do.
Right.
um like when I was a little kid and I would get so much food on my plate and then I would just like throw it away, he would be like, you can't do that, there's kids in this world that are starving, you eat all your food, you don't waste it, you save it, or you eat it all. And literally to this day, I eat everything that's on my plate. Like I just because that's how maybe that's why I'm so big, but that's
Right.
like it's just a habit, and my whole life is like that. It's like it's never about I'm not being cheap. I'm not doing it's just that I hate to waste ever. And that's a little habit that's created. And that's because it creates this empathy for other people who might not be as fortunate, as blessed as me to be able to have a meal or a place to live. And in other times, like when he told me, like, call me, which was kind of the what sparked that song. He's like, call me. It was like, you got to let me know how you're feeling because I worry about you and I
Right.
don't want to worry. So he wanted me to think about him, you know, and not that that's selfish of him, but it was selfish of me not to. And so it was always like that. And he was so much ingrained into the traditions of our tribe, and all that we do with our rituals and ceremonies and everything is based around a community. It's about everyone working together in unison, and it just makes life so much easier. So if you have empathy for the next person, that you're going to do your work because it's going to make their life easier, that's kind of what it does. And yeah, at times I forget that, and that's why, like, I always those little tidbits resonate with me. And yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think that's the moral of everything he was trying to teach me, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's everything. I mean,
Crazy.
I had some questions about Nikki Six and all that stuff, but honestly, I got to the core of what I wanted to ask and what I thought would be best representative of you. And so I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. I never in a million years did I think I'd actually get this chance. So this is like super cool for me. And
You're actually pretty good at this, man.
yeah,
Like,
thanks.
because it feels like we could have a conversation, and but it's also like an interview. I mean, I do talk a lot, so maybe I could be like trim it down a little bit when I'm talking. But yeah, you're good at this. You get me to
Thanks.
open up somehow without like really making me feel like I am. That's crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate
So
that.
keep doing it.
Thank you. I am actually. I'm just reaching out to other people right now. Hopefully, someone grabs. But thank you, and thank you again for doing everything that you do to not only get music out and to perform and to interact with fans, but just the immense amount of joy that you've brought to all of us over the last couple of months. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you've done for me personally. So thanks.
You know what? No, no, thank you, because you're awesome. And that's if there's anything I learned, like the actual like monetary support, right? It's
Yeah,
like when that happens to me, it's like I feel like this responsibility that says, Robert, you're a weirdo and you kind of make people smile, dude. So keep doing that. And I'm
yeah,
like, okay. And like I'll never forget when Garth Brooks, like, the way he would make like his ticket prices, try to get them low and things of that nature. And
right.
he has this self-awareness that says, I'm Garth the fucking man Brooks. Like, people
Yeah,
need to see Garth Brooks, so that's what I'm going to give him. Like, he has this kind of outside mentality of what he is, and he gets it. And that's how, like, on a much smaller scale, that's how I feel. It's like, I don't know why people like can gravitate towards my band. They gravitate towards my weird personality sometimes, and I like doing it because I know, especially like this was cool when we can't go to shows. It's easy to say I could play drums and we sound cool and all that, and a lot of people like that. But
yeah,
to do this is like, well, this is interesting. Let's keep going. And it shows like, oh, you guys are into this and you're doing this and you're helping me out. You want the CD, you want the stuff, but really what you want is to keep hanging out. And by doing that, it's showing me like, hey, keep doing this, please,
yeah.
and that's what's been awesome about all of it. So yeah, man, for sure. Right on, Steve's Duck. You
Yeah.
ready to get that ass whooped or what?
Oh, absolutely. My feathers are ready.
Right on, dude. All right, man. Well, this has been great, dude. For reals,
Yeah.
I think you're really good at this. Down to the
Thanks.
fact that you research and and it sparks conversation. So that's good, man. Keep it going, dude. I'll try to get some of my friends over your way.
Absolutely. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'll see you
Hell yeah,
guys
dude.
in the Twitch spheres.
the rest of the Discord.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Peace
brother.
out.
We'll chat next time. Peace.
And we're going to just do this real quick. For some reason, I cannot turn off the disco. How could I be duck support if I can't even be my own support? Oh no, what happened? All right. So, oh boy, didn't want to do that. I'm just going to put the logo back in there. My camera. Oh, right. I have to turn my face cam off. On again. And HDFC. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, we did it. We got through the first interview. How freaking exciting is that? I honestly did not intend for the interview to last as long as it did, but man, I just feel so invigorated right now. Like honestly, this has been something that I've been wanting to do uh, in my personal life for a very long time. I almost pursued this as a career, and so to have the opportunity for me to do this has been an enormous, just wonderful thing. And again, thank you, Rob, for giving me the opportunity to do this. If you know other people who want to if you know other people who would like to be interviewed in this fashion, I will do literally all of the research I can. I will look up old interviews. I will look up personal habits. I will do the interview. I want to keep doing these. This was great. I'm going to end the stream here, and then I'm going to start up another one in a few minutes. I'm going to take the trash out, really fast, figure out what's going on for dinner. Then we'll be back. We'll be quacking around with Rob himself and maybe a few other people. So, if you come by to watch that, happy to have you. If not, that's also cool. Honestly, this week has been crazy. We hit affiliate this week. I got to interview Rob all in the same week. It's just been this has been really awesome. I feel really good. So peace out. I'll return soon. Soon. The word soon, not soon. And thank you for everyone who supported me. And I didn't get a chance to thank Nuggets, but thank you for that bit. Can you guys hear a helicopter? It was great. And hey, Rob's Xbox for the sub and the follow. 2 for 1. Hello. Sweet. I appreciate you. I love all of you. See you soon.